Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. As you know, my name is Danny. Thank you so much for clicking on that thumbnail. In this video today, I want to discuss, as you know, right, Ace dropped a video on his YouTube channel last week. Was it last week? Yeah. And there has been a lot of discourse around it. So I want to approach a conversation from the standpoint of, is it possible for Ace to have redemption? Can he rewrite his story and, start over? And I want to preface this by saying I'm a Nicolandria stan. So if any Nicolandria is watching this video and feel like they want to come for me for doing this video, please don't. Please don't. I will be deleting any comment of the sort that is attacking me in any shape for doing this video. First and foremost, okay, we all have free will, and this is what I'm using mine to do. I'm making content. So him dropping the video has reignited the whole conversation about his journey on Love Island in relation to how he treated, Jeremiah, Amaya, Nicolandria, and Shelly, right? And I don't know if people watch the video, so just to give you guys a quick summary, he talked about, reflecting on his life. He reflected on his life, his experience on the show, and the backlash that he received since becoming a public figure. And he seems to be attempting to reframe how people see him beyond what they saw on Love Island. And also, in the many clips that are going around on social media, he talks about how intense the public scrutiny has been, especially after leaving the villa. And he explained that being watched and judged and discussed online, that affected him much more than he expected. And he wanted to share a fuller picture of who he is. He includes parts of his background, his personal growth, goals, and his life before Love Island, and that he's more than just the versions audiences saw on screen. And his family members came on to talk about him, and so forth. But in my opinion, everybody was, especially his family members, they were just talking around the things that people want them to actually address about Ace. Like, no one was really talking about the big elephant in the room, in my opinion. He also touched on his relationship with Shelly, speaking in general terms about navigating love under public pressure. And rather than focusing on the drama, he frames the experience as a learning moment, emphasizing growth, self-reflection, and how reality TV can distort real relationships. And his tone suggests that he wants viewers to understand his intentions, even if his actions didn't always land very well. And he spoke about Shelly in the past tense, which definitely, confirmed the breakup for a lot of people. And the internet, though, reacted, like many people are divided over this. Some viewers appreciated the vulnerability and felt the video humanized him after months of criticism. They saw it as a sincere attempt to explain himself and move forward. And of course, people are saying that those people who see that are very much male-centered. Others felt the video leaned too heavily into self-presentation and didn't fully address the specific behaviors or moments that caused backlash in the first place. And yeah, he should have directly owned all that he did. You know what I mean? Especially from the Speedy interview. Like, he really needed to, come out and apologize publicly for what he did, or at least try to. But it would seem, I've heard people say that you remember that interview that he did with, I think it was Revolt, that got yanked pretty quickly off of the internet. But essentially it was about him alluding to people not wanting him to speak publicly or talk about the situation that he apologized to Nick. It's as if they told him not to speak about Nick and Alandria. We don't know who they is or they are that told him this. So that's what he alluded to in that interview, but it got yanked pretty quickly off the internet. So yeah, whatever happened behind the scenes it seemed to be a big deal. And but he could, try to talk around it, but again, it's good that he also stayed away from it, because he didn't want to ignite any more controversy surrounding that. and maybe there are even legal matters. I don't know if Peacock told him to, shut the hell up or whatever. So yeah, but people were expecting him to take accountability for that. People wanted him to be more accountable for what actually happened with Shelly as well. This is my personal opinion about what happened with Ace and Shelly. In my opinion, Ace and Shelly are the same people, or they have a lot of similar traits, right? When we watched them on the show, we saw them constantly try to one up each other, or Shelly wasn't being what's the word I'm looking for? She wasn't being subservient, I guess, in the way Ace wanted her to be, or she wasn't, giving him the upper hand or playing to whatever game he was playing. And Ace wasn't playing into whatever game Shelly was playing either. So Ace tried to use Coco to stay in the villas to make Shelly jealous because he saw Shelly with Chris, and Shelly wanted to get back at Ace using Chris because Ace was going all around the villa talking to Amaya and Iris and Hannah when they had come in. So I think they both have similar traits. Even when the whole issue with Huda went down, like, they weren't really communicating well with each other, or the producers cut that out. From what my understanding, they cut a lot of the stuff out between Shelly and Ace, and even on the reunion they cut some of the stuff out as well. But communication seemed to be an issue with both of them because neither of them were being straight up with each other about what the other wanted when they were in the villa. And so they went, how many episodes before they finally decided to become exclusive on the show, when all of that could have been avoided and they could have been exclusive from day one. So in my opinion, they're the same person. And also, with the whole ego thing, they both have big egos and they were allowing their egos to rule them. And also because I think because Shelly is older than him, also, she probably, would come off a certain way where her age and maturity would be dominant in comparison to Ace, and then him trying to prove himself and whatever as a man and blah, 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 blah. So to me, they are the same person. So I strongly feel that Shelly has a lot of culpability in what Ace went on that podcast and did, because nobody can tell me that Shelly didn't know that Ace was gonna go on that podcast to say all of that type of stuff. You know what I mean? She agreed with him, which is why when all the controversy was going on, she stood 10 toes behind him, and she made that known that she was sticking with her man, right? So I think that this was both of them had that plan to go after Nick and Alandria, and Ace was the one because he's the one that speaks with his chest and stands on business. He wasn't afraid to go on the podcast and say all that he said. So because Shelly was in agreement with Ace could not publicly come out and defend Shelly, and Shelly could not publicly come out and say she doesn't agree with Ace, because both of them, I feel like, felt the same way about Nick and Alandria. Meanwhile, we all saw them supporting Nick and Alandria on the show. Well, at least towards the end. Ace more so than Shelly. Shelly was a bit more, on the fence. But after several things have been revealed, I'm beginning to think that Alandria probably clocked certain things, and Alandria couldn't talk to Shelly about certain things in the villa, because Shelly and Sierra were always closer than Alandria and Sierra. Alandria and Huda were closer friends than Shelly and Alandria. Alandria probably felt emotionally safer with Huda to talk about Nick than she felt with Shelly to talk about Nick, because she knew Shelly and Sierra were friends, and they were friends outside the village. Shelly and Sierra were friends before Sierra and Alandria got close in the villa. So I feel like because Alandria clocked all of that and how editing went down, we didn't catch everything that was going on, and we thought that Alandria thought that Shelly was her soul sister. And she was, but as two black women in the villa. But emotionally, I don't think Alandria felt safe with her, right? So, it was easy well, not, I wouldn't say, I'm not gonna say easy, but it was clear to me that Shelly and Ace were in cahoots to go against Nick and Landria. So people are saying, why didn't Ace come out and defend Shelly? I think he didn't defend Shelly for that very reason. So people want him to be accountable for the downfall of, not downfall, but like for Shelly not doing as well as Landria. I don't think that he feels that he probably has any responsibility in that, because both of them were in agreement with the plan. You get what I mean? That's my opinion on this entire situation. With Nick and Landria, Ace should have taken accountability for that. And because Shelly wasn't the one to publicly come out and say anything, you know, I think that maybe he should have provided her with some amount of cover. But like I said, well, people think he should provide her with some amount of cover, and I felt that way too. But as time went on, you know, I began to realize that Shelly and Landria didn't have the relationship that we thought they had in the villa, and as a result of that, my opinion kind of shifted to the aforementioned, right? So yeah. But after saying all of that, right, he really wants to, you know, reset his image and have people seeing him in a different light and whatever the case is. So do you guys think that redemption is possible for him? Reset is possible for him? I'm gonna play this video from this creator that I saw on TikTok, and you guys listen and tell me if you think that this would work or not. In my opinion, nobody gives a rat's behind anymore. Nobody gives a shit anymore. Like he's done for. And then he came out with this video, and it just reignited the whole added fuel to the entire situation, with him not taking accountability for anything. So whatever fans he had, I think he lost some more fans. He lost more fans, and yeah, I don't think redemption is possible. But listen to what she has to say and let me know what you guys think. And please like, please share, please comment down below, and we'll continue the conversation in the comments. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Back in September, just a few days after that god-awful Speedy interview aired, I had posted a video with a strategy of how Ace could regain favor within the fandoms, like what he would need to do in order to regain favor. And now everybody is kind of ruminating over his interview / documentary. And as I'm looking at everybody's takes, the critiques, and understanding where he went wrong and where he went right, my video, my strategy is still relevant. And if he played it, it could work in his favor. So I'm gonna have to run it back. I'm gonna run it back.
You know, baby Alan Green did a bad thing, but it's not too late for him to have the redemption that he seeks. So let's talk about how he can create his own redemption arc and come back from this terrible Speedy interview. Step one for Ace to really turn this thing around is to stop the bleeding. And he can start that by offering a private apology if he has not yet, to both Olandria and Nick. It's the sooner the better. If he waits too long, it's going to seem inauthentic, not genuine, and it'll just look like he's desperate to try to fix what he's broken. But if he comes from a place of remorse in his private apology, it may smooth things over, even if their friendships don't go back to the way that they were. In addition to that, he would need to issue a public acknowledgement. This doesn't necessarily have to be an apology to the public. It's just him acknowledging that his words did cause harm, whether it was intentional or unintentional, and that he understands what he did. He takes full accountability for what he did in the fallout that occurred after it, and that he is actively working on himself. That's it, nothing more. Phase 2 would be the launch of his redemption arc. We all know Ace really wants to have control over how his persona is perceived in media. He wants to control that narrative. A lot of his quote-unquote crashing out is because he believed that he received the villain edit in the villa, and he went on Speedy's to try to have full autonomy over his media output, but that didn't work out in his favor. So I think he should go on another podcast or a show with an emotionally intelligent host who will handle him with care. And he would highlight what his intent was over the impact of his words. He will talk about the lessons that he has learned from this fallout, and how he wants to do better going forward, as well as touch on some of his emotional blind spots so that he can garner empathy from the audience. He is already starting to garner some empathy, but he can do it even more and faster if he leaned into that, focusing on, hey, I've never been in a relationship before. I may not really know what a real loving relationship looks like, and because I've never seen anything like Nick and Olandria, I can't really compute that because I've never seen it, so it doesn't seem real to me. And it really seems like the reason why he went on Love Island was to pivot away from making the dance videos. I think that if he opened that up a little bit, still do the dance videos, but do some behind the scenes work that really includes his day-to-day, his interactions with his friends, his family, interactions with Shelly, really making that a point to really bring people in, to really see the real him and his element, I think that would help people really see Alan for who he is. Phase 3 would require showing tangible work. This is where he would really have to put the emotional labor in to really work on himself, not just talk about it, but be about it. That means attending therapy, finding out what some of those emotional blind spots are, so that he can also have a positive and healthy growing relationship with Shelly as well. It's not just for a show, it is for him. And he would need to be able to receive and accept that the therapy is not just for his career growth and saving his brand, but it is for him for the long term. And if he can do that, embody that, and demonstrate that, that would help a lot because people can see the growth.